This is Lansdowne Roar, the voice of the fans. David Dunn here, joined by Conor McAvoy, and today we're going to be talking about Troy Parrott. Is he a shoo-in for Ireland's first leg playoff in Plovdiv on the 20th of March? Also, we're going to be talking about a possible 64-team World Cup. Why wouldn't we be? And unfortunately, it's happened. We're going to have a halftime show in the 2026 World Cup final. It's Lansdowne Roar. Conor, how are you doing? Sorry.
I'm the best. I'm doing well. I'm good. I'm enjoying the football on at the moment. Good to see a Troy Parrott masterclass last night. So how are you doing?
I'm good. Very well. Bit of an eventful week, as you know. It's good. And Troy Parrott shining on the European stage, which is what we love to see, and kind of what we knew he could always do if he put his mind to it. But we're going to talk, obviously, about that in greater detail in a second. But before we do that, we just encourage you, as always, guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe buttons and heading over to our YouTube channel there and hitting the like button, if you wouldn't mind. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before we jet off to Plovdiv on the 20th, which Conor and I are doing. No Martin, because he doesn't really love Ireland. I said it. He's a charlatan. Anyway, hey, Martin. And also, if you can head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. If you want plenty of opinion, lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie, where we're going to have loads of coverage, especially over the international window. We're going to have match reports, that kind of thing. Also, right now, if you want to get some match reports on League of Ireland, opinion, it's all there. It's over there on lansdowneroar.ie. And of course, you can give Conor a follow over at Rep Tracker on Twitter, and of course, over on Facebook as well. Right, let's get into it. Troy Parrott Masterclass. Conor, of course, he came back to hunt his old team, Spurs, in the it's Conference League, wasn't it?
No, Europa League.
The Europa League. They should be in the Conference League, Spurs, to be fair. In the Europa League, in the first leg there, he helped, well, I suppose he helped set up the goal, even though it wasn't a very unfortunate Bergvall own goal. But he did play really well. You were fawning all over him, Conor. He has to do it all again, of course, in London next week in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But what did you say? I couldn't find the tweet, actually. You said that he's going to be an elite player if he just sorts out his shooting skills.
I said if he improves in 1v1 scenarios, he has the potential to become an elite footballer, which I think a lot of people seem to agree with, because if you watched that 90 minutes last night, he looked head and shoulders anyone in the attacking third on the Spurs lineup. You could see a lot of Spurs fans tweeting out saying, I can't believe we spend all this money in strikers, and Spurs' best strikers now playing for AZ Alkmaar. He was absolutely brilliant. His hold-up plays, link-up plays, the dummies he was throwing, a few back heels that were lovely, and it's just such a pity he missed that 1v1 chance, because it would have been the icing on the cake to a almost perfect performance, because he really put on a show, and it was probably good to watch, because a lot of time when we have Irish players that do well, usually they're not always that great to watch, not that pleasing on the eye to watch play football. But he was absolutely brilliant last night, and I think we're starting to see the real Troy Parrott that we've all hoped would come to fruition. And all it has to be is all it is just that 1v1 attacking third bits.
1v1. I'm sorry, is he playing Street Fighter or something?
1v1. No, because he's constantly 1v1 with the goalkeeper.
No. I mean, stop saying one-on-one in one-on-one situations. 1v1. We're going to be talking about this later on, actually, in the podcast. The Americanization, the American bastardization of our beautiful game. 1v1. Sorry, continue.
No, that's all I was going to say. Now you can take over now. Smart ass.
Smart ass. Arse. Not ass. I'm going to correct all the Americanisms, pal. His one-on-one situation. Yes, we have seen it before, unfortunately, in an Ireland game. The 2-1 away defeat to Scotland, Hampden Park. Great game of football that was. And I think at that stage it would have made it 2-1 to Ireland, and we probably would have been away. No, I think he is. I've said it. His positional play, his reading of the game is superb. He really has it up here when it comes to football, when it comes to playing up front. However, his one-on-one situations, he's not great. And unfortunately, if you want to become an absolute elite striker or forward player, you got to be able to score goals, especially in one-on-one situations. I've also said it before. I think he needs to bulk up a little bit. Look, he's only 22, so he's got time. He certainly has time on his side. He's not going to hit his peak for the next 4 years. Um, Conventional wisdom would suggest, but yeah, he was superb. I Even this run actually to get into that one-on-one situation was superb. The timing of it, like the way he just dropped back, like it was. He's got it. He does have it. He has all the attributes. His football brain is absolutely amazing. And he was pulling off a few flicks and just dropping back and just linking up the play and then moving. He's such an intelligent footballer, and he has it all. I just hope he obviously improves the one-on-ones. You can do that in training, and he needs to bulk up. I was talking to a Spurs fan yesterday, actually, funny enough, and I was obviously ripping the piss out of him as you do. It's quite easy these days when you're a Spurs fan, and I just said, like, if he just bulks up, he'd be class. And he was saying that that's what Harry Kane did. He had to go. He had to go down the lower divisions to toughen him up. I'm not suggesting Troy Parrott goes to the lower divisions. He's done that, but he bulked up. You look at a player even like Ronaldo. I'm not comparing Troy Parrott to Ronaldo. However, when he arrived in England, he was a scrawny little teenager doing his little step overs and lollipops. And then when he left England, he became an absolute beast. He was ripped. He was just big, muscular guy, and he toughened up. And I think if Troy Parrott gets that, sorts out his one-on-one situation, which I think he will. So it's just about training and application, and I think he'll be fine. Yeah, he could go back to England because let's be honest, that's where you're aspiring to. I think he could become a top player.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and the thing is, it's not always necessarily about a player bulking up. Obviously, yes, he is quite on the slight side, but there's also a thing of having the football brain to know how to use your body in the right scenario, when to put your body in front of the defender, which he seemed to do very well last night. In fairness, he seemed to have Danso, the new centre half at Spurs, very frustrated at times from how he was using his body and winning free kicks and stuff. And that is part of it. Obviously, you see a lot of players that come through and they lack that football brain to sometimes know how to use their body. And I think it's not just bulking up wise, it's also how you use your football brain, which he has, which is, I think, still is 75% the problem with most footballers. So I do think obviously he will bulk up over the next couple of years, just naturally will happen. And I don't even look at that really as a concern, really, to be honest with him, Dave, because I think he knows what he has to do with that. And it's just them 1v1 scenarios. It's just about practicing. It's about just every day and training and getting that extra few reps in. And then obviously it's just composure as well at the same time, because we all know he still has the ability to do it now. It's just about the consistency in front of goal, because his shot conversion rate is actually quite high. I think it's the third highest in narrative, is he, because he's someone that would take a lot of shots. So it's not like he's a bad finisher, and because he definitely is a good finisher. It's just about consistency in front of goal and keeping his composure, because he seems to have everything else that you need to be a top striker.
Yeah, I mean, he's young. He's only 22. Like, we have to remember that. I think the Eredivisie's been perfect for him. Obviously, he has. I think he's 16 goals now. I think 15 or 16 goals in the Eredivisie. I think it's been perfect.
I think it's 17 in all comps. I think
17 in all. He's doing really well. He's also scored a couple of goals in Europe as well. I think the Eredivisie, brilliant move. When a move just works for a player, it really has worked for him, because obviously you get more space and time in the ball in the Dutch league. It's allowed his game to breathe a little bit, to develop that side of his game. And as I said, if he just toughens up, he doesn't have to become an Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just needs to just become harder to push off the ball, nudge off the ball. We have seen him play for Ireland. I think it was Finland. Was it Finland away? It was one of those games.
Yeah, you were going mad about it.
I was, and to be fair, I was right. He just bounced off the two big lumps. You don't have to be a giant to do that. Luis Suarez, for example, Messi. I'm not comparing them to those players either, but what I mean is they're small lads, but they're tough. They're nasty. Especially Suarez. But it can be a mindset as well. That aggression probably needs to be more aggressive as well. But the Eredivisie, I think, has been a great move for him. But he does need to work on a couple of things. But he's going in the right direction, and he's starting to become that player. I think that we always thought he was going to become when he was 17.
Yeah, I think that's always the thing when you've a young lad coming through, and because the fact is, when he came through at 17, or even when he was 16, he was considered probably the best striker in Europe at his age because of the things he was doing for underage for Spurs, and even before that, when he was at Ireland with Belvedere and at Ireland underage, I remember him playing up in age in the Euros for Ireland, and was one of the best players in the tournament. And people were thinking, who is this guy? Because what he was doing was something we'd never really seen before at that age for a player playing at that level around the best players in Europe who are older than him. So I think it's just been a maturity thing with him as well, because I'd imagine when you're that good, when you're that young, you probably expect everything to naturally flow into the next level. That he just thinks probably I'm that much better than everyone else my age. Once I get into men's football, I'll be able to adapt fast, and I'll be one of the best there. So I think it's probably been a bit of a learning curve mentally as well, because I said it's been quite tough on him in terms of adjusting the mindset from going from being the best and having the talent and being there. Obviously, he has worked hard before that, but now
Mm.
it's when the real graft has started is now. And I think that I think it's undeniable now that probably, unless Evan Ferguson goes and scores 2, 3 goals in the next week or two, which he probably won't, because I don't imagine he'll start West Ham's next game because they're winning matches at the moment with the system which they're going in, which I'm not a fan of. But anyway, that's for another day. But no, I think he's probably very likely to start for Ireland against Bulgaria. And just for himself, I'd say it would be very tough on him if he doesn't start for Ireland against Bulgaria, because he must be thinking, what more could I do at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, it has happened before, hasn't it? He's had a run of games where he's scoring goals and he hasn't started. He hasn't played a minute. I believe it was coming up to it was
I
the
think it
win.
was the England Greece international break,
Yes,
the first one of the Nations League.
that's right. Yeah, because I remember listening. I actually remember walking around Helsinki listening to it on YouTube, the press conference, and he was talking about it because he was the player chosen for that. But probably because Heimer probably feels the same a bit as well. Like you need to be a bit nastier, a bit, throw yourself around a bit more, throw your weight in a bit more with the defenders, push back. As Heimer said, he does want a nasty pass. He likes his teams to be aggressive, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Aggression in football is necessary once it's channeled in the right way. But yeah, I think it'd be very unfair to him now with the dearth of goals amongst our other strikers. Really, he has to start. He does have to start. I know I've not well, I think constructively criticized him there a little bit. But yeah, he does have to start, I reckon. But you reckon him and Ferguson can't play up front together?
Um, I don't think so, to be honest, Dave, because we tried it against Greece away and it was a bit of a disaster. I know we probably Ferguson probably could have got a penalty if you remember after the first 2 minutes, but
Hmm.
like literally we did not in the rest of the game. They neither two were in the game, and I think Heimer will much rather a number 10 profile playing in that role behind either Ferguson or Power rather than playing two strikers together. It worked well in the past when we had Obafemi and Parrott, but I think Obafemi is more of a mobile type player than Ferguson, even though Ferguson isn't slow, but he's a different profile of striker. And when we went and played Finland away, if you remember, I think he'll look at that as a similar sort of game. And we played that, you could say a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 with, we played Azaz behind Ferguson. So I think if we're going to play the two together, I'd say it's maybe the home leg. I probably wouldn't see that with the way leg. I think he probably would rather someone who can play a bit deeper, because although people like to say I'll play for Troy Parrott behind Ferguson, I still think that takes away from Troy Parrott's best abilities at times, because he is so good on the shoulder. If you've seen last night when he ran off for the 1v1, or 1-on-1 if you want to start crying again, but because he was 1-on-1, like, and that's not going to happen really from a number 10, unless when Smodix plays as a 10. In fairness, he likes to make them late runs in behind the defenders. But I think that kind of takes away from some of Troy's best assets, where he has the freedom to go anywhere along the front three or and to pick up the ball. And I think when you play him slightly behind the striker, it kind of takes away from him slightly. Obviously, for a player of his ability, you'd expect him to be able to adapt to any system. But I think we're better off playing a natural number 10 and let Ferguson and Parrott fight out for that spot at the moment, unless we somehow become a magical football team that plays liquid football and the two of them are playing on the last line. But unfortunately, we're not at that stage yet.
No, no, we're certainly not. What do you guys think out there? Let us know in the comments. You'll try. Is he shooing now to start Plovdiv on the 20, notwithstanding an injury? Let us know in the comments
You
below.
might
Of course,
want Colin Robinson to start, do you? Because he's scoring goals, do you?
do you know what? Actually, I would love to see Callum Robinson come in to the team and score like a hat trick in
Thing
Plovdiv.
is that I like Callum Robinson, but he's just not good enough. I actually really like Callum. He seems like a nice fella. He's done very well for Ireland in the past. I just think there's better options.
Just for context, we spoke in the last stream because you're probably going to go, oh, Dave loves Callum Robinson, wants him over Evan Ferguson. No, I was just saying that one of our was it Baylor? Was it? I don't want to put a name to it and accuse them.
Definitely wasn't Baylor because he would have been on about Didsey.
Yeah, he would have been, wouldn't he? But one of our commenters said on the live one that maybe get Callum Robinson in goal because Callum Robinson up front because he's scoring in goal because he's scoring goals. And of course, Connor shot all over it because that's what he does. If you don't agree with him, typical snowflake. It'll cancel you, if you don't agree with him. But I just said I could see the logic that if that's what international football used to be about. Now it's more about kind of like a smaller football club mentality. But an international manager would pick a team on form, and you have a player come in that hasn't played for like 18 months, and he come in, do a job, and then probably never play again. That's all I was saying. Anyway, tell us what you think. Do you agree in the comments below? Also, we will be in Plovdiv. Connor and myself are going to have a load of stuff for you over the international window. We're going to have a squad reaction program with Connor and Martin on that. This is the place to be, Lansdowne Roar. As I said, if you haven't done it already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel and head over to our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And of course, lansdowneroar.ie. We're going to have loads more articles and that kind of stuff. Do it now, right now. Moving on, Connor, we are going to talk about the next World Cup, the one in 2026. When do you think we're going to qualify for?
So does Heimer.
Yeah. Why not? So it was confirmed during the week. I saw this. I shared this particular post on the Facebook page. FIFA president Gianni Infantino has confirmed that there will be a Super Bowl-style halftime show during the 2026 World Cup final in New Jersey. That's in the MetLife Stadium, which is next to the old Giant Stadium where we beat Italy 1-0 in 1994. Old enough to remember that. If you thought that couldn't get any worse, turns out, according to BBC Sport, Coldplay to pick the 2026 World Cup final halftime acts. It'll be picked by where is it? It'll be picked by Mr. Chris Martin.
Will he pick himself?
I hope not. And band manager Phil Harvey, U2 Light. They're just basically a piss poor version of U2. And band manager Chris Martin and band manager Phil Harvey will help to establish a set of artists to perform in a 15-minute break at next year's finals. A little bit more on this. It, of course, will be co-hosted by the USA, Canada, and Mexico. That's going to be interesting considering what's happening now in 2025. It'll be on the 19th of July in the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Though pre-match performances showpiece occasions such as the Champions League final have become commonplace, there has never been a halftime show to World Cup final. Halftimes in the regular NFL season last around 15 minutes, but they are extended up to 30 minutes at the Super Bowl in order to accommodate a halftime show. That's going to, and I'll get back to that. But Infantino says that I could confirm the first ever halftime show at the FIFA World Cup final, New York, New Jersey, is going to happen. This will be a historic moment for the FIFA World Cup and a show befitting the biggest sporting events in the world. Oh, God. That's going to be the next one, isn't it? They're going to extend it to a half an hour, 20 minutes, because there's no way in 15 minutes where the playing surface in football, proper football, not that American crap, is so important. Where with the Super Bowl, it's Astro, isn't it? Mostly Astro turf, and you can just wheel stuff on it, and it doesn't really damage it. You don't really need it because it's played up in the air. Where football, it's played on the pitch. So how's that going to work? I mean. First of all, sorry, Connor, your thoughts on this Americanization, bastardization of our game, which I, by the way, said on Facebook started when he started calling the 1-2, the 1-2, the give and go. I remember watching preseason matches on was it Satanta and ESPN back in Ireland when I was still living there, and they'll call, oh my God, a give and go, and then Andy Gray, that's how long ago it was, started using it. I'm thinking, no, make it stop. Please make it stop. And now we have this. See?
I just think it's load of shite, to be honest with you. Just sick of it. Sick of this nonsense, woke nonsense, as you would like to say, Dave, about it. Because, like, what is the point in it? Like, I seen the other day, I had Sky Sports News on, we very rarely have it on these days, but I had it on, and they were talking about it, and they were saying that in the FIFA rulebook, you're not allowed to have a halftime more than 15 minutes. You're breaking FIFA laws. I'm sure that they'll find a way of changing that to
Means nothing to
make
them.
it like, but like, could you imagine being in the dressing room at halftime after World Cup final and you're 1-0 down and you're trying to get yourself psyched up and Katy Perry singing fireworks at halftime of World Cup final and you have to wait half an hour to come back on the pitch, so you just lose all momentum. I know in NFL and stuff, it's like don't have the big long Super Bowl halftime show, but half the people who play NFL or play American football aren't on the pitch for more than 30 seconds to a minute at a time. So they're kind of used to that stop start nature in football. You're just not. It's just mental.
It's just money.
It's just, I just don't get it. Like, the only hope I'd have is if because the way money is these days and the way technology is, they have a way that they can just bring the act on it almost immediately at halftime. I know maybe if they can like get them on a, I don't know what you call it, like a zip line type thing that they can just push them flying in like Shawn Michaels did back in the day, if you remember, onto the grass,
WrestleMania 12.
like onto the grass, and he just starts singing on the grass, and it's just basically just a big light show with someone singing the whole time, and maybe if they're wearing football boots or something, but no, that's it. It's just I just don't get. I just hope that they think of a way that it only lasts 15 minutes, maybe 20. If it's 20 minutes, yeah, fair enough. But once it gets starting getting close to half an hour, I'd get a bit worried.
I can see it being a ratings disaster. Look, when you watch American football's shit. Let's be honest, it's bollocks. Can't stand it. I've been to a live game. It's just 20 seconds, and then it's ad break, ad break, ad break, and that's the difference with, you know, you're probably replenished by the time the halftime Super Bowl show comes. I've only ever watched one because you two were on it in 2002. I've only ever watched one, and I couldn't bear it. But you're replenished by the time the halftime show comes on, so you don't mind sitting there watching it. If you're watching the World Cup final, you're sitting there for 45 minutes, probably drinking a beer or whatever. You're going for a piss break at halftime, like anyone else. You're running to the toilet, like you were going to the toilet. You're not going to sit there and watch some nonsense. You're going to go there. You're going to get your beer set up. You're going to get more food, more snacks. You're going to replenish all of that. You're not going to be watching this. It's a different mindset. I can remember the opening ceremony. USA '94. Diana Ross missing a penalty. Did you ever see that? When she supposed to hit it in the goal and the goal breaks open and she fucking hits it that way. It's just, I hate this, Connor. Like, it's a perfect game. Just leave it alone. It's the most watched game sport in the world, and they just want to do this, and I don't get it. He's a fucking that guy Infantino. It's in some ways he's worse than Blatter, isn't he?
Yeah, he just makes it more obvious that he's money laundering.
Allegedly, Connor. Yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
He just makes Blatter was doing it more behind the scenes. He's like, oh, maybe he is, maybe not. Nah, Infantino, yeah, he's definitely doing it.
Allegedly, he's allegedly doing it. Allegedly.
Hopefully, he doesn't watch Lansdowne and gets us banned from the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, send on your. Well, that'd be your fault. We probably will qualify for that. And we probably will be banned from it. But tell us your thoughts below. But what do you think? Is it brilliant or bollocks? There you go. Brilliant or bollocks? The halftime show that is coming your way in 2026. Unbelievable. And of course, another World Cup again. It's been reported that FIFA are considering expanding the World Cup to 64 teams for the 2030 tournament. Of course, that will be the 100th anniversary of the World Cup. An adjustment which would mean, according to the Irish Examiner, an adjustment which would mean more than a quarter of its 211 member associations that would take part. It's been tabled by the Uruguayan Football Association, of course, held the first World Cup back in 1930 and won it back in 1930. I'm flying here. Let me see if I can just get a little bit more on this. This, according to the Irish Examiner, which I think they've actually taken from The Guardian. FIFA are going to consider this proposal to expand the World Cup. It was raised at a meeting of the FIFA Council on Wednesday as part of any other business, according to reporting in the New York Times. The delegate was Ignacio Alonso, the president of the Uruguayan Football Association. Yeah. And a FIFA spokesman said about it, it has a duty to consider all requests from council members as a proposal to analyse the 614 World Cup to celebrate the centenary of the FIFA World Cup in 2030 was spontaneously raised by a FIFA council member in the miscellaneous agenda item near the end of the FIFA council meeting on the 5th of March 2025. And they've acknowledged it and are basically having a look at it. Connor, surely no. Surely can't be ridiculous. You'd have no qualifiers. You probably still wouldn't qualify.
And how do you even decide which federations get which places and stuff, and who gets what? Are you going to give them all to Europe, or are you going to mix them up and give, I don't know, Asia more, or whatever else? There's South America and stuff. So I don't get it. Like it makes no sense. I don't think. I'd imagine the reaction online hasn't been too positive to it. I'd imagine countries are a bit standoffish with it as well, because they're probably thinking, sure, no one's going to turn up to our qualifier games. How are we going to make any money for if 3 teams from each pot or 3 teams from each, say, European group qualify? It just makes no sense. I don't think it's something that'll go anywhere because it just doesn't seem to add up. But you never know with FIFA. If there's a way of making another couple of billion, it'll be done.
Listen, right now it sounds ludicrous. A Winter World Cup sounded ludicrous. No, we're not going to have a Winter World Cup. Not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen. Oh, by the way, we had one. It's just a one-off though. Like, you know, we don't want to keep doing this. Oh, by the way, we're going to have another one. It's because it's happening in Saudi. Trust me, they fly a kite. This is a kite being flown. They wanted to get rid of the European Championships. There was calls for getting rid of the European Championships and all that. Just you have a World Cup every 2 years. No, keep it every 4 years. Let all the associations have their own ones. I do, you know, obviously the AFCON one is ridiculous every 2 years. I don't want to get involved in that Jamie Carragher argument, but the fact it's every 2 years is ridiculous. It should be every 4 years, and you have a major tournament every 2 years. Nice and simple. I don't know. I cannot see. You never know. You have to be very careful with FIFA with these things. They're looking at the money. How did he get more money? And I have very little sympathy for professional footballers because of the life of luxury that they live, especially when you're playing on an elite level. But you kind of wonder, like, if they were to do this, how? I mean, imagine how long that tournament would be. It'd be nearly 2 months. Like, it'd be 2 months, wouldn't it? It'd be.
Or they do something stupid. They do like, you play one game and you're knocked out. You play just straight knockout football.
Or so, yeah.
Just into a bracket of 64, and you just get knocked out, and it just goes down. You get seeded from 1 to 64, and they do it like March Madness and college basketball, and they just go from there. It'd be, but that would be mental. Like,
no, do you know what? The 32 team World Cup was perfect. I can remember back in Italy 90, USA 94, where different permutations. You had all the different groups where certain 13 teams would go through. I think we benefited from that in USA 94. Although we finished second in Italy 90. And then it was all a bit mess. It was 2014 World Cup. Then France 98. Perfect. 32 teams. I think it was 8 groups. Could be wrong on that number. First 2 go through. Simple. Straightforward. Clear. Perfect. And they're probably going to do that. Anyway, tell us what you think in the comments below. Will it happen? Do you want to see it happen? We'd like to hear your thoughts. And Connor, we're going to leave it there. We will be back on Monday live show. Not sure of the time. Connor and Martin will be on for that. Sorry, guys, I've just plummeted the ratings there for that. Sorry, Connor. But we will be back on Monday for a live show. Of course, we will have a squad reaction as well, which is going to be announced, Connor, this Thursday.
Yep, 12:30.
This Thursday, 12:30. Connor, you going down to Dublin for it? Big day out for you?
First time in Dublin.
First time in Dublin for Connor. Bless him. You know, hopefully he doesn't get lost. Just get the sat nav on. Just head for the big smoke of Dublin from Monaghan.
I will do.
Going across the border into. Anyway, as I said before, folks, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Scan. Why do I keep saying scan that QR code? We don't have a QR code anymore. Hit the subscribe button. Like the video because it does help. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. And also give Connor a follow over on Rep Tracker on Facebook and, of course, over on Twitter. And if you want opinion, head over to lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie. I'm David Dunn. He is Conor McAvoy. We are out of here. Good night. God bless.